Hi, welcome to High Growth with HTDC. I'm your host, Cindi Matsuki, and HTDC is the state's tech supporter for economic development in the state of Hawaii, and we support all things tech, entrepreneurship, innovation, and manufacturing. And my guest today is Dr. Walton Shim, who used to be a pediatric surgeon, and he's also the inventor of the Smar Tummy. And the technology, I think, is amazing. It could do big things, and it was invented here in Hawaii. Is that right?
That's right.
All right. So Smar Tummy, the team has won the UH Business Plan competition, and they also took third place in the National American Society of Mechanical Engineers Innovation Showcase. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's great. So let us know, like, what is Smar Tummy?
Well, Smar Tummy is basically a programmable mannequin. And when I say programmable, that's an important word because most mannequins are very static.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they have a mannequin that will just lie there and you have to compress the chest, and it may teach you how to do
Like a CPR. Yeah.
They're mannequins that you can insert a tube into the nose and look in the esophagus and the stomach, but they don't do anything except allow you to insert tubes, or mannequins you can stick needles into. Strangely, with this great emphasis on education through mannequins and simulation, there's no mannequin that you can program to simulate appendicitis.
And that's a common.
Yes, it's a very it's one of the most common diseases of the belly. Or a distended bladder, which is also very common, especially in obstetrics and gynecology, where you know, women have distended bladders, and nurses have to make a diagnosis that this is not a major problem, it's just a distended bladder, or acute gallbladder disease, or peritonitis. All these are very common abdominal conditions. So this mannequin we have designed with an inflating system through a manifold that distributes air to various cells in the abdominal cavity that can be inflated to simulate tenderness in the abdominal wall, or distension, like a lump in the, of the bladder, or a lump that causes that you find in acute gallbladder disease, or a stiffness in the belly that you find in appendicitis or peritonitis, or just general distension in which you have bowel obstruction. So you can, these various diseases, we hope, can be simulated in this mannequin. And another thing that we've noticed in mannequins is most of them are made out of plastic. And you know, they don't have the feel of skin, the way you and I perceive skin with its softness and its warmth. So mannequins are really not very good imitations of the human body. And our mannequin that we propose to make will have, we hope, the feel of the human abdomen.
Wow, so it's going to be warm.
Well, we hope it can be warm and soft, and not not cold and hard like the usual plastic mannequins.
Like the CPR guy.
That's right. That's right. See, when you press on the chest to do CPR, it doesn't matter what it feels like, because that's not part of the diagnosis. The diagnosis is already that the patient needs compression.
I see. So it's just a process.
So you create a mannequin that doesn't feel like a human chest, but all you need is the compression portion, whereas our mannequin needs to feel like the human belly. And,
for diagnosis.
Yeah, for diagnosis.
How did you come up with the idea? How did you?
Well, you know, I've been in this game ever since I became a physician and came to practice in 1967. So I've been a pediatric surgeon and
is that your specialty?
Yeah, and a professor of surgery at the medical school since 1967. So, but I've also gone through medical school, and when I was in medical school, for 4 years, we learned about what the sick abdomen should feel like, but we never had patients that would demonstrate.
So that's like book learning.
That's book learning. That's right.
Yeah.
So, you know, you have to read the book until you graduate and your 4th year, and then you're an intern or a resident in the hospital, and then you see your first patient.
Yeah.
So the assumption is that by the time you get out of medical school, you know how to examine the belly.
Exactly.
But you know, you haven't examined the belly that has had the appendicitis. You've only read about it.
Yeah.
And maybe examine the belly of your fellow classmate, but that's a normal
Who don't
abdomen,
have
right?
appendicitis, yeah.
Your fellow medical student or nursing student doesn't have acute gallbladder or perforated appendix or anything like that. So by the time you reach the end of your medical school training in the 4th year, you haven't really seen a live sick patient. So this is a matter of delayed learning. You see your first patient, supposedly an expert on the diagnosis because you've gone through medical school and have a doctorate. But that poses a problem of whether you truly know what a sick belly feels like.
Yeah, because you've never
experienced it. And it also matters of patient safety, because if you as a patient, you're going to be my first patient. So it's a matter of whether I'm really capable of making the diagnosis or not. Now, I'm not sure that this is something that we should broadcast, but it's certainly the truth. And I think it's a matter of patient safety and early learning for physicians and nurses.
Definitely,
yeah.
definitely. Huh. So how did you come up with the idea of doing something inflatable? So I wanted to kind of show, if we can get this.
This is our, in trying to figure out how we're going to do this, we needed to start with one simple prototype. And so we got 4 balloons to represent the 4 quadrants of the abdomen. And we figured if we could inflate each balloon separately, or all 4 together, or 2 of them together, or 3 of them together, this would be the beginning of a programmable mannequin that we could say we can program 100 of these balloons to inflate differently in different quadrants of the abdomen to represent different diseases. And so this is the alpha prototype.
The first prototype.
And so we constructed that.
That's a great idea. How did you come up with the balloons?
Well, we figured early on we used the word fluid because air is the fluid also. But it's impractical, we think, to use water or oil or glycerin or some petroleum product or any liquid, because if it leaks, it's just a huge mess. So air we thought would be the most practical, but we went through this trial and error in our minds about what would be the best medium, what would be the best fluid. We thought that air would be the best. And let me tell you how it progressed. Then in theorizing that we should have maybe 100 of these balloons in an XY matrix.
Like small balloons.
Like small balloons, maybe in a 1 inch across, or even 200, a half an inch, whatever the size, so that we could inflate them to simulate different parts of the abdomen. We'd need a distributing manifold or a box that had pressure, that had all these tubes, 100 tubes that could be programmed to blow up these balloons.
Wow. In
combination or separately or all together. And so I talked to my organist at the St. Clement's Church, who was repairing our organ, which is a pipe organ.
Wow.
And he said, you know, the principle is to use a manifold, because the manifold supplies air to every one of the pipes, and we have thousands of pipes in a pipe organ. And by pressing a key or several keys, we can you know, distribute air to these various pipes. And he said that, you know, if you use this principle, it should be very similar to a pipe organ.
Sounds like a pipe organ. Interesting. That's a great idea.
Yeah, and so we have based this on the manifold principle that supplies air to the various pipes in the pipe organ. And if it can supply pipes to 1,000, I mean, or air to 1,000 pipes, it can certainly supply air
to a couple hundred.
Couple hundred, yeah.
Balloons.
So this is how it grew, but that was after we took the idea to the classroom with these graduate engineers, and it was a very It's a very interesting class. It's a combination of engineers and surgeons.
Interesting. So this is a class at UH?
Yeah, this is a graduate engineering class at UH.
Wow. And it brings together surgeons.
It brings together two disciplines, surgery or medicine and engineering.
Wow. And
the two professors who are responsible for combining this class are Dr. Russell Wu, who's a surgeon and part of JABSOM, and Scott Miller, who's the professor of electrical engineering.
Wow.
And together they sponsored this class, and I forget what the education number is, but there is a number in the curriculum book.
In the graduate level.
Yeah, and so since I'm a fellow surgeon with Dr. Wu, he invited me to present this to the class.
So you had this idea before you went to this class?
No, I had this idea for 10 years now.
Wow, okay.
Long time. But, you know, it's a slow development. You see what your educational process was, and you see what the patients need, and you try to, and I said, you know, it would help if medical students could have early access to sick patients, but you know, you can't have sick patients going to the medical school. Now, sometimes you can have a medical student on a sort of an observational basis to a shadow of a surgeon or shadow of physician, so that the medical student will go to during his, say, a block time of elective block time, go to the physician's office and see the sick patients with the physician, but that's only 1 month out of his 4 years. So it's not a practical thing, and it doesn't apply to every student. It's you know, only very selected students can do that. So basically, your training on really live sick patients doesn't occur until after you get out of medical school, until you're in the hospital or the clinic or in the emergency room. So as I kept on thinking about this, I thought, you know, what this would do is to advance the education of the early sick abdomen into the medical school curriculum, which would save 3 years of education. So you could start in your second, third, and fourth year in medical school. By the time you got to the hospital or the internship year, you'd already know approximately what an acute appendix felt like, or what a gallbladder felt like. Yeah, or a nurse, on the other hand, would have experience with feeling what a distended bladder would feel like. So if a pregnant woman came in and said, "I got belly pain," and this nurse felt a big lump in the suprapubic area, and she could say, "Oh, I think you just haven't peed for, you know, you got a big distended bladder." So that would be learned before you saw a patient, and I think that would help a lot.
Physical experience.
And so this is the seed from which this thing has grown.
So you brought this idea to this class.
Yeah, I brought this idea with the encouragement of Dr. Russell Wu to this class, and there were 3 engineers who had formed a group. They said, "Yeah, you know, we think we would like to work on this idea." Now, a lot of ideas are presented, but these groups chose different ideas to work on, and the group of Larry and John Sal and another engineer chose my thing, and we worked on that.
Picture of the winning team from the business school.
Yeah.
Is that the team?
Yeah, I think that Dr. Scott Miller on the extreme left, and Larry, and then John and myself, and then Dave Yarber, who was formerly one of our business associates who's gone off to do other things. But this is basically the early part of early organization of Smar Tummy. This is a picture of our third place winning check of $10,000
Nice.
in Washington at the ASME competition. You can see the Capitol in the background.
That's a great picture.
Yeah, it is a great picture. It's also a great shot because it shows how small a surgeon is and how tall
An engineer
and how big the engineer is.
That's so great. So you and Larry went up for the award ceremony?
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, that was a great experience because there were 5 judges and they're all internationally known in the in the entrepreneuring area of promoting business. And one of them was the chief engineer for Musk, you know, the one of SpaceX, the guy.
Oh yeah, Elon Musk.
Elon Musk. His chief engineer was one of the judges, so we were very.
That's great.
We were very impressed by that.
Yeah, that's a pretty big name.
It was a good experience.
Oh, very good.
But this is the sort of background that we've had, that we thought, you know, sort of put the stamp of approval, at least viability, the stamp of viability on our project, because it's gone through the PACE, the business competition,
so it has business viability,
and then the Association of
Mechanical Engineers,
Mechanical Engineering competition in Washington. So if the business people said it was good business and the engineering people said it was good, a good product, that's about all we needed to say, yeah, you know, we ought to work on it.
Yeah, so. Definitely. That's super exciting. We're going to take a quick break. My guest today is Dr. Walton Shim with Smar Tummy, and this is High Growth with HTDC on ThinkTech Hawaii, and we'll be right back.
Aloha, welcome to ThinkTech Hawaii. My name is Josh Green. I'm the host of a program called Healthcare in Hawaii. I'm a physician. I work in the emergency department on the Big Island. I also serve in the state senate, which, please don't hold that against me, doesn't detract from my television program. We speak about all the big healthcare issues in the state. We get together on Tuesdays from 2 o'clock till 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and we try to talk about the most important issues in healthcare. This is a terrific venue for people to learn about healthcare. There are many programs on this station. We broadcast it later, not just on the internet, but also on OC16. Thanks for joining us. Please be informed healthcare consumers.
Hi, welcome back. This is High Growth with HTDC. I'm your host, Cindi Matsuki, and I wanted to let you know what's going on around town in the tech field, the innovation field. This Thursday, December 4th, is the Growing Hawaii's Innovation Economy at the Proto Hub, sponsored by HVCA. The keynote will be given by Professor Enrico Moretti, author of The New Geography of Jobs, on the importance and role of the innovation sector in generating economic growth and new jobs in the economy. That is perfect for us. Next, I want everybody to save the date. December 29th is HTDC's 15th annual Holiday Tech Fair at the Japanese Cultural Center. It's part job fair, part tech expo. Help us show returning Kama'aina that innovation in tech is alive and well in Hawaii. You can get your resume evaluated by HR professionals as well as your digital headshot taken for your online profile. Tech companies will be showcasing their products and looking to hire. So I hope you can make it. That's December 29th at the Japanese Cultural Center. For businesses and entrepreneurs who need some quick legal advice, every Wednesday, HTDC offers free legal guidance in partnership with the Business Law Corps. You can sign up for a 30-minute appointment at the Manoa Innovation Center. Please visit htdc.org/legal to sign up for a free 30-minute legal appointment. I also wanted to let our entrepreneur community know that we have office space available at the Manoa Innovation Center. We offer a collaborative community, co-work spaces, office services, and great programs for starting businesses. For more information, please visit our site at htdc.org. I wanted to let everybody know that HTDC has a partnership with Proto Hub. We've entered into an agreement with the Proto Hub, one of Kaka'ako's newest co-working spaces, to share resources and facilities. With our shared mission of supporting the startup and entrepreneur ecosystem, this partnership allows members of both HTDC and the Proto Hub to take advantage of the facilities and programs offered. We're looking forward to a fruitful relationship with the Proto Hub. Lastly, calling all SBIR Phase 1 winners. HTDC offers the state's matching fund for up to 50% of your Phase 1 award. So if that's you and you've won a Phase 1 SBIR, please contact us at sbir@htdc.org. All right. That was a mouthful of announcements. Now back to our guest. My guest today is Dr. Walton Shim of SmarTummy. SmarTummy is the latest medical technology coming out of Hawaii. Very exciting. So we were talking about, it's been validated.
Yes, well, we think so. At least the
and
principal idea has validation, I think.
What point in development is the technology right now?
Well, the technology is validated by the prototype, the alpha prototype we have. It can be done. We need to expand it so that it will truly simulate the human abdomen by creating a beta prototype now that has maybe 100 cells that can be individually or in combination inflated so that it can represent lumps or tenderness or spasm in various portions of the abdomen.
Are these special types of balloons? They're not just like your regular.
Well, we don't know. This
balloons.
is we haven't got there yet.
Okay.
We have to fashion a material or find a material, obviously some rubberized product or plastic product that can be inflated to certain tensions that can be pre-programmed by our computer.
So you're actually programming the manifold to control
Yes,
all the air,
yes.
the airflow.
Program the airflow out of a manifold, right?
Oh, okay. And is this your alpha prototype?
No, this is the first one that.
Oh, okay.
It's composed out of components we bought from Home Depot.
That's the best.
But it works.
That's the best.
And so the next one is going to be the sophisticated one. That's where we're aiming at now. That's where we've got to get engineering help to produce this thing.
Okay, okay. So this is kind of a mock-up.
Yes, this is the mock-up.
Okay.
Actually, we have created this sort of looks like an egg crate with various balloons in it, but it doesn't work. It's just enough to take a picture.
To give the idea, the concept.
That's right. That's right. That's a photograph of what we have created, and they're not quite 100 balloons, but but that serves the purpose of showing what this thing looks like. It's a matrix of inflatables that can be properly inflated at different pressures to represent different organs and different diseases in various parts of the abdomen.
Very
It's an exciting concept.
It is, yeah.
But there's many, but you know, we're not there yet. And you know, how to do this is really what we need to prove now with a beta prototype.
And this is the manufacturing.
Yeah, this is where we need to produce the first workable clinical mannequin, so that I can give it to you and say, what's this feel like? You know, do you think this feels like appendicitis, or do you think this feels like gallbladder disease?
Okay. Have you gotten feedback from other physicians?
Yes, yes. We've gotten feedback from several simulation laboratories, including our SimTiki laboratory with Ben Berg. We've shown the concept to HPU and their simulation laboratory. We've shown the concept and described it to Chaminade and their simulation laboratory director. I think her name is Miss Peterson, and we've shown it to Capilani or HPH's simulation people, and also with we've corresponded with two simulation laboratories in California. I think one in UC Irvine and the other one in Phoenix also.
Great.
Yeah.
And all good feedback, or?
Well, yeah, they all said we need this.
That's great.
And they said if you develop it, we asked them, would you be willing to critique it if we manufacture, say, 6 of these, we distribute them to 6 of these beta prototypes? Would you be willing to say, does this work for you? What would you suggest we do to improve it? And working with us to show us what further needs to be done.
That's great.
So we've got people interested already.
Yeah.
All we need to do is do it.
What is the biggest challenge so far that SmarTummy has faced?
I think that the biggest challenge is not what you think it is, and not the idea. I think the idea and the mechanics and the engineering is not the biggest challenge. I think that has been, we are able to meet that. The biggest challenge now is to get the bucks to produce it. And that's really our critical point now. I think that we have the idea, we have the theory of how this should work, we have the basic idea of these valves, how they must be synchronized. It's a matter of getting this done. And we think that we've estimated that probably has a engineering construction cost of somewhere in the neighborhood of $250,000 or $300,000.
Wow. That's to get a manufacturing ready prototype?
That's right. That's to get a workable prototype that will truly simulate the belly.
Wow.
You know, I know you say, well, but you know, actually in the great field of medical simulation, $300,000 is not very much. And this.
And the benefit seems huge.
Yeah, I think it's workable because you take this in the context of medical simulation. The medical simulation market is predicted to be $1.9 billion by 2017. So if you take 300,000 for a prototype against 1.9 billion, that's not too much. So we think this is doable. We are in the process of doing it now.
That's great.
And I think once this is done, then I think that we can say we have a product.
That's great.
Yeah.
What are you looking for? You had mentioned earlier before that you're looking for some people. We might as well get the word out there.
Yeah, okay. We're looking for, one, the money to build a prototype. Two, we're looking for a CEO that can take this from the good idea stage to a product that we can say, put it on the table and you examine this and tell us whether this is a good mannequin or not, whether it does what we say it will do. And so we think that person needs to be an engineer CEO from now on to...
With product development.
That's right, to develop this product and make sure that the thing works and that the nuts and bolts are correctly arranged to create this thing. And once that's done, then I think that, you know, it's a matter of manufacturing it. And I think, though, that once we get this done, I don't think there'd be much problem in getting interested in manufacturing it. Because then I think that by that stage, I think investors will see that it's a doable thing in a field which is completely lacking this particular type of mannequin. And we've got mannequins for everything else. We've got mannequins for examining the mouth, examining the rectum, for examining the esophagus, and looking in the ears. And
but nothing for the abdomen.
But nothing to feel for the abdomen. Nope. Nothing that depends on palpation, which is the feel. We've got stuff we can stick in a bronchoscope, stick in an esophagoscope, stick in a colonoscopy, colonoscope, stick in an esophagoscope, look in your ear, look in your nose, but nothing that would demonstrate the feel of an abdomen.
And I would think that's how a lot of diagnosis goes for the abdomen.
That's right. That's right. This is the key to treatment, because if you don't you don't know how it feels, you don't know what the patient has. If you don't know what the patient has, you can't make a diagnosis. I mean, you can say X-rays and ultrasound and all that kind of stuff is important, but not until you examine the belly do you know what the next step is, like whether to get a blood count or to get an X-ray or whatever, or even to operate. Before you operate, you've got to feel the belly. At least a surgeon does. So I think it's a very basic concept, and I think it attacks one of the areas that really needs emphasis in education in medical schools and in nursing schools. And this is not only for the physician's capabilities, but also for the patient's benefit and his safety.
Yeah. So what is next on the?
Well, we already are backed up by 2 pending patents.
Okay.
And you can say, well, you know, pending patents aren't patents, they're just pending. But we've had this searched out by a Korean patent office, and they found that worldwide there's nothing that has never been described like this Smar Tummy. So with that information, the U.S. Patent Office has agreed to accelerate the pendency of this thing, or to act on the pendency, and we hope that it may be done in the next couple of months, that our pending patent will turn into a true patent.
Definitely, that's exciting.
Well,
Very good.
So, yeah,
Very good. We're going to take another quick break.
Okay.
My guest today is Dr. Walton Shim of Smar Tummy, and this is High Growth with HTDC. I'm your host, Cindi Matsuki, on ThinkTech Hawaii, and we'll be right back.
Hi, my name is Seymour Kazimirski. I have a show called Seymour's World on ThinkTech Hawaii. Our show is about opening minds and facilitating conversations. To tell you the truth, I have no idea what we're going to be talking about. I have no idea who our guests are going to be, but I guarantee you we're going to have lots and lots of fun. Aloha from Seymour's World.
Amount, I think in the next 2 years we need to get $700,000.
Okay, we're back. By the way, this is High Growth with HTDC, and my guest today is Walton Shim, and we're talking about the next steps in what Smar Tummy needs to take it to the next level, to get to the beta prototype. So right now they're looking for funding. What type? I guess I'm not super familiar, especially with medical devices. Like where do you look for funding? Where are you guys going to look?
Have you got a pocket?
Well, I'm a state employee.
The answer is anywhere. Well, I think that, you know, I'm no expert in the entrepreneurial world either, and until we
were. Is this your first?
What's this?
Time?
This is my first.
Trying new business? Wow.
Right. And I had no idea about the classifications of investors. You know, there's I'll give you a sort of a rundown about my understanding. The first step is to get the basic amount of money that you need just to launch this thing, and it's pitched to 3 F's: friends, fools, and
family.
Family, that's right. Family, fools, and friends. That's the first step. And then next comes something before angel investing.
Before angel, okay.
Yeah. Angel investing apparently is some sophisticated plan where you can give them notes of various things on a sliding scale of return. But before you get there, there's an in-between thing between friends, fools, and family, and the final angel round, where I think we are now. And I don't know what you call that. You can call it FFF plus. I mean, I take it the angel round sort of gets you into millions of dollars. I'm not sure. See, I'm so unfamiliar with this, but this is where I think we're going.
Okay, okay.
And I've been told that we're not quite at the angel round yet.
What is it going to take? Like, do they want to see the prototype? Is that what it
is?
is?
We think that if you're going to be an angel and you want some, not absolute certification, because no investment will give you absolute certainty, but if you want as much certainty as you can, you got to have the product in your hand. At least you should probably. And we think that's a reasonable demand. That nobody, I mean, I think this idea is very good. And, you know, my feeling is that it's worth a lot of investment, but I don't think that the people who are going to put in the money have that same certainty that I do. But
so you're
I'm
kind of in a,
what's that?
In a puka.
Yeah, yeah, we're in between a good idea. We're past that already.
And the next step.
And we haven't got quite to the investors that will be willing to put in big bucks to create this thing in a $1.2 billion market.
That's a big market, though.
It is a big market. We also got a big niche in that. We have projected that this Smart Tummy should be about $420 million portion of that market.
Wow. And who is your customer? Who would you sell this
Well,
to?
the customers will be medical schools, nursing schools, osteopathic schools, and possibly hospitals. For instance, Chaminade, HPU, Jabsum have simulation labs. Well, these would be customers. And I think Queens has a simulation laboratory. As a hospital, they have a simulation laboratory. So that we figure that each mannequin, now a comparable mannequin, now a whole body mannequin sells in the range of about $100,000 to $125,000. So if we say, we pitch this as, you know, a complicated mannequin, and we say roughly it's 100,000, well, maybe 200 or maybe 50, but it's certainly not $2 or not $1 million for mannequin. $100 is a good theoretical
But it sounds like
price tag.
something that you could actually build into, like an existing
Yes, you could.
simulation mannequin.
You could. It's a little bit more complicated than that. I think simplistically you say, yeah, you can put this in a mannequin, but you've got to have a shell that will accommodate all of this. So you've got to make your mannequin, your shell fit what we've got to put in it. You can't just grab a mannequin from Sears, stick it in the middle. Now, we've tried to do that, by the way.
Yeah.
That's how I know. I bought a mannequin from Sears when they were closing in Elmont for $125. I still have that in my storage room at home.
Is that this one?
No, that's not that one.
Oh.
That's a different one. But I do have a mannequin that I bought from Sears.
Yeah?
Trying when we first began to try to fit all this stuff in there. It just didn't work. But I just haven't had the heart to throw away this $125 purchase. So I just keep it
around.
Yeah, keep it around. It's got a green garbage bag around it, so people who look in my storage area aren't horrified by this naked person.
Got a body in there. Oh my gosh.
But anyhow, where were we? We were about projecting how much this thing would cost. Well, anyway, there happens to be, and by our figuring, about 2,000 plus maybe 2,200 medical schools, osteopathic schools, and licensed nursing schools all together in the United States. And if we project that these 2,000 plus, maybe 2,100 schools all need 2 mannequins per piece, that's about 4,000 something mannequins at $100,000 a piece will give us a projected market share of $420 million. Anyway, that's the pie in the sky. And in addition to that, we feel that the company that manufactures this will not only sell the mannequin, but they'll sell maintenance. They can sell the curriculum guide to how to use this thing, rental.
The interface part.
That's right. Replacement parts, replacement of whole mannequins every 4 or 6 years, whenever these things wear out. You know, they want another one, or upgrades.
Is it going to be easy enough where, say, a doctor could just plug in a condition or a disease,
Yes.
and it would just...
Well, it won't be any condition. It'll be a condition that we programmed.
Okay, okay.
So suppose they're 16 or 10. We'll have programmed 16 or 10.
And it'll automatically adjust.
You just press a button and that the thing will appear. Now, a further refinement of that would be, you know, when you go to your physician and he feels your belly and it feels sore, he'll get an x-ray, right? So the student or whoever you're trying to teach will say, what's the x-ray look like? So you press a button and a suitable x-ray will come up, an x-ray of, say, gallbladder disease, or appendicitis or perforated appendix or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And if you say, well, the examiner could say, you know, what are his bowel sounds going to be like? So the student will put in a stethoscope in his ears, and he will have a pre-recorded
Wow.
sound that sounds like the condition that he's examining.
Huh. So that you can match it up.
So you can match it up. That's right. So give you an examination tool where you can program the mannequin to have a gallbladder disease, and you can ask the student, what do you think his laboratory will be? What do you think his bilirubin will be? What do you think his CBC or white count will be? And the student might say, well, I don't know. So the programmer pushes a button and the white count appears on the screen. It's elevated to 30,000. His hemoglobin is such and such. His bilirubin is such and such. Does he have gallbladder disease? And the student will have to decide whether all these things prove that the patient's got gallbladder disease. Along with the x-rays, he might give you an x-ray of the gallbladder and say, you know, this is what it looks like. So these are further refinements of this basic mannequin, but this is where some of the added bells and whistles.
Yeah, it sounds like a very
will make this more
tool.
like a real human being and a real emergency room contact with the patient.
With all that information.
Yeah, so, and that's shown by this thing here, see, which shows an x-ray and a laboratory work that can be programmed into future mannequins, or there's no limit to what can be done.
Wow,
and you may even
great.
have a mannequin where the student will press here and the mannequin will go, ouch!
That's what a real person would do, right?
I mean, that's a little fantasy,
That's
but
true. No, I
it's
like
possible.
That. That's good, yeah. Make it as realistic as
That's
possible.
right, make it very realistic. But
That
you know,
is so
that's
exciting.
not what we're facing now. We're facing with making the guts
Just
of this thing.
the basic, yes.
Literally the guts of this thing.
Thank you so much for being here. I
You're
think
welcome.
This has so much potential. So I'm looking forward to working with you, and then hopefully we can see this get built.
Well, thank you.
Very
Thank you.
exciting.
Yeah, you know, there's several ways you can work with me. One is to come up with $700,000.
We will look for that for you.
The other one is to be my mechanical engineering CEO.
Is there any place people can find information about Smar Tummy? Is there anything out there yet?
No,
Not
that's
yet.
a good.
That's,
yeah.
we can
Well,
help you with that.
I'll tell you, you can call the present CEO, who is Larry Martin, or you can call me.
Okay. That sounds good. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very
with
much
us
for
today.
having me. I appreciate it. It's been a fun afternoon.
It's really exciting. That was a great story. My guest today was Dr. Walton Shim of Smar Tummy, soon to be greatest medical technology coming out of Hawaii. And this has been High Growth with HTDC. I'm your host, Cindi Matsuki, on ThinkTech Hawaii. Until next time, thank you.